Start by the easiest circle by the challenge.
Which thank you.
One that you're gonna just try to focus on today. All right. So I just want to bring us back to what we talked about on the 6th, and actually Scott kind of spoke to this that day, if you remember, kind of criteria versus rubric. And that criteria is meant to be kind of that big picture, and is it meeting the needs of what we're looking for? Is it a comprehensive ELA, English language arts curriculum? And then the rubric is when we're gonna get really into the details. We're gonna comb through it, fine tooth comb, and use the rubric also for scoring.
I have a question.
Yes.
I don't know if I told you, but I am deaf in one ear, so if I have to look at that, I'd rather sit
You
somewhere
want me
here.
to switch?
I would love to switch
You
with
can
her,
switch.
that way I can look at everybody and respond, and, sorry about that. It sucks to be this way, but
No, that will be your seat from now on.
thank you so much.
No colors.
Is this gonna be my seat somehow?
Yep, you don't get a move.
Oh, he's not gonna want to sit in
I'll be
that
nice.
spot, because you're gonna be on your spot, so you probably wanna switch with Nampa.
Hurry, you're right. So I should also share very quickly, we're so thankful to have Darlene here. If you don't know Darlene Leo, she is Dr. Russell's administrative assistant, and she's amazing, and she's here to take notes for us. So we post notes after each of our meetings, and usually that's what she's doing. So, any other questions about criteria versus rubric? I will say that publishers have, like, I didn't share with them, I didn't talk to them, they just got an email saying, we're looking for programs. We're sharing our criteria, could you share it with us? So some of them interpret it as a rubric, hence, if you browse through the documents you have, that's very rubric type details, not necessarily criteria type details. So when you look through them, you're going to have to remember that you're just looking at that big picture and criteria, even though you're going to be weeding through like rubric type information. All right, so if you would please look at your, so it's English Language Arts Comprehensive Curriculum, you have that? That's not it, it should just be a one pager. This is the document we looked at together. You know, let me do that.
No.
No, we can have that.
Yes. See it on the screen here.
It's touchy.
Very touchy today. Oh goodness.
The bar, I was going to use the bar with the plus and things when it gets organized.
Thank you. There we go. Okay, if you would just read through that. And I'll scroll down a little bit. So this was the criteria, if you remember, we agreed to, back on April 6th, and we added those components. And that was this document was what was shared with the publishers that we all agreed that we wanted to reach out to. So.
This was a bad idea.
So our process,
Sorry. Pizza's now.
oh, we're gonna get some pizza in just a second. But we're gonna start our process to analyze the criteria. So what we're gonna do is we're going to individually review, then we'll do a small group review and discussion, and then we'll come into a whole group discussion. And after all of that's done, then I have a form, and you're gonna rank the programs according to the criteria. So what you have in front of you, if you look at the very first one in your stack, looks like this. You'll notice that the second paragraph says the word Savas. So if you would write at the top of this, just so you remember that this is Savas. This is the publisher Savas, and their program is My View. Or you can highlight it if you want, Savas, My View, right there in that second paragraph. Then you have a packet from iReady, which is also magnetic reading. The name of their program is magnetic reading. The publisher is iReady. That one is written on the top right corner for you. You don't know what one that is. Then you should have one labeled Open Court. That one is already labeled for you. And then the last one, you'll see that it says it's HMH into reading. So if you want to label it HMH into reading. Yes, that one, HMH into reading. And then, I'm sorry, you should have one more. You all have one that says Amplify CKLA, Core Knowledge Language Arts. So you'll notice you don't have, from two publishers, McGraw-Hill Wonders did not want to resubmit and go through the process. So they did not submit anything. And also Hillsdale College did not submit anything. We did reach out to them actually more than I reached out to Wonders. And we had a conversation with a gal there named Lily. And she expressed that they have never worked with public schools. We were, they've never accepted or you have to apply to get their scope and sequence. And so, and then they determine if they'll work with you. So they said that they would get back to us. They're not sure if they are interested in working with public schools. They also shared that they nationwide have 23 schools that they work with, and 2/3 of those schools are K-12 schools. And total students in all of those 23 schools that they serve are 15,000 students total. Our district alone, elementary is about 6,000 students. So they've never worked also with anyone our size. So that it's just something they haven't done. So it would just be new for them. And they haven't gotten back to me again if that was something that they're interested in doing.
I talked to this, I'm forgetting her name, the superintendent in West Bonner. She's new, Susie, she's great. She has the stuff from them because they did apply and get it, and I wonder.
So I did
called-
talk to Susie.
Okay, good.
Susie explained that they had reached out also, and what they were given was the scope and sequence. So they have the scope and sequence, they don't have samples of the program. And they haven't adopted it. So it's not, they haven't, Hillsdale hasn't accepted them, and they haven't vetted it either, so they're kind of, they're not sure, and they're a very small district, so maybe if they're going, I have no idea what Hillsdale intends on doing.
So they're only like a step ahead as far as they do have school.
They have a scope and sequence, but no like stories or materials, or they don't have the component. We also learned like the phonics component, they use a different program for phonics, they use a different program for grammar. So they pull from several sources. So it's not necessarily, they themselves alone are not necessarily comprehensive. They don't have that.
Maybe Hillsdale, not.
Hillsdale, right,
Oh,
Hillsdale, yes.
That's good.
And just a question of clarification, tonight, when we're ranking these, we're deciding who we would like to invite to proceed, correct?
Yes.
So if materials are not available tonight, then in theory, they're not a viable option, correct?
So yes, however, I did go out, I did request, when I requested materials from them, and they didn't respond, I did some more research on my own, and you can get a sample. This is what they would say their sample is, so it's not the criteria, and they haven't necessarily agreed for us to look at this, but you can go out and find this online, just how I got access to it.
I'll just jump in a little bit and clarify. So after the emails and on the phone call, we know they received our request and our information. They know the process we're going through. They know that we were inviting them in. They knew that today was the date that we needed some type of communication back to us if they were interested in being considered. So, and we did not hear anything back. So that's just important for the committee to know. The reality is they did not submit criteria. They did not submit a correlation. What you have in front of you is what Tammy researched on her own. And we also left the door open to reach back out and at least communicate and know where you're at in regards to your ability to serve a district our size, if you're interested in serving a district our size, all that stuff. And then we did not hear that, so.
Yeah, it is a very different thing, because theirs is free, they do charter schools, there is no package, this isn't a publisher, this is
The scope and sequence is free. And then you work with their partners to purchase the materials. Correct. And so it all starts with, it's different. And also, to be fair, I would refer to it as it's fledgling in this arena, right? So they're small. I don't think their intention was ever to be in the public school game. I think the intention was to be in their charter network. I think they're just now trying to get their feet under them in regards to if they're gonna jump in the public arena, what does that actually look like? And I won't put words in their mouth, but it did very much seem, having the conversation, that just entertaining a district of over 6,000 students was a little overwhelming to them to try to picture that scope. Not that, I know they're also fully aware that if they get into the public school game, that's what comes with it, right? So,
And I would say, part of
it's where we were at, we're trying to work with Hillsdale College to get this ball rolling. That's kind of what has happened up to this point.
And when we talked to them, no, I would just add that they also said like the materials right now that are like consumable, they just currently print at the college. So like, I don't know if they know that if they have the capacity to print like the phonics and the technological awareness piece that actually sounds like would have to be purchased as a separate program to complement this. So I think that played into their just wondering of, we don't know what to do with this yet.
I know, I think it would be a lot cheaper option than these, but I think it would be a lot more effort, and the teachers wouldn't have anything that's plug and play. I would love to go see that Treasure Valley Classical Academy and just see it in the works or whatever, because it is amazing. But I know Susie was gonna send out a broad thing to all of their district homeschoolers, private school, public school, and say, does this even interest you? Because they would switch potentially over to it.
Yeah, it was interesting that Hillsdale actually never mentioned
They
Treasure
did to
Valley.
me when I
Oh,
called.
did they? They mentioned West Montrose, but not Treasure
That's
Valley.
how I got students.
But I would say, at the surface, it looks like it would be cheaper, but we would have to buy all the texts. Like, we would be selecting texts and buying all the texts, so that's not cheap. We would still have to make all the printing, all the decodables, all of that stuff would have to be printed. So while like the initial on our end, the purchase that would also have to come with it would be significant as well.
I think the blessing is it's not always changing, so you're not every 7 years having to flip it to something new and the other one's obsolete. It's gonna continue to just be a classical model of, you're not gonna, you might have to
So-
fill in stuff.
I don't know enough about it, so what, they don't have a technology piece that would be constantly updated.
I don't think, I mean, I don't know, I was reading through the scope and sequence and stuff, and it seems like there's very little computer stuff, but they had, they had the spelling, they had the phonics parts, like they had I liked what they had in their, scope and sequence for what I was looking at was this online, but yeah, they use Singapore math, we know that, like, so they use different components and all their.
That was the other piece too, it's a K-12, like all subject curriculum. And so we would just be doing the K-5 ELA piece, and I don't know if they have a lot of places to do that either. There's just a lot of unknowns, and that's just where we are
When
with
I
that.
thought it said more like K3. I'm trying to dive in more. So I was like, it looked like to me, 4, 5, 6 was lacking in anything phonemic awareness. Like if we wanted some backfill, like those holes, any phonic stuff they're missing. I was like, oh, I don't really see where that is in there. It was more like stories, like story-based, and that's more of the literature when I was looking, but
So that's just kind of where we are with that, but you do have that little, what I found, again, if they didn't send it to me, I just found it online. So the other thing I just handed out was a note catcher for you. So you'll see at the top, it is, I asked Darlene to staple it on the right, which I'm sure she was like, why did you do that? But she did it, because I know that's what I said. So sorry it's stapled weird, that's all me. But you have the name of the program at the top, and then each of the criteria just listed out. So we're gonna take a significant amount of time now, probably 45 minutes, to grab pizza first, of course, and salad and breadsticks, and then dive into these documents and take some notes on what you see. Again, you're probably gonna be overwhelmed by some of them are very lengthy, but remember, we're still looking at criteria. We're not going deep into rubric yet. If questions come up, we'll be here, we can help, and then after about 45 minutes, we'll check in where you're at, and then we'll move into small group.
Think of it like a resume, scanning to figure out who you're gonna bring in for interviews. It's really simple, right? If you've ever been involved in a process where you got a stack of employees' information, it's just trying to get your foot in the door in order to come to an interview. It's kind of what we have sitting in front of us right now.
we're trying
That's a word for it.
But we're trying to shoot for.
So we.
No more than 4.
No
It could be
more
less,
Four.
but no more than 4.
I will add, I didn't print it for everyone, but, I already magnetic reading, if you get to the part where they're talking about how it aligns with standards. We have a little packet for K1 and 2, how they align to Idaho foundational skill standards. And then for the scope and sequence for HMH, it was a digital link. They talked about it a little bit. But if you get to that question and you have a wondering, we actually have like the scope and sequence spiral bound that you can actually look at. So if questions come up, we have a couple more pieces here.
Thank you for doing your due diligence and the schools, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, food's not getting warmer.
Now?
Yes, go.
Is that a now?
Let's
Yeah.
go. Go.
Nice way to mark it. Take 2.
probably the wise thing to do. And not to touch everything. The rest of special.
I don't see those. Oh, there, yeah.
How many different comprehensive programs does HMH have?
HMH only has one, but, McGraw Hill has two.
Oh, it's McGraw Hill.
Yeah.
Okay.
McGraw Hill is Open Court and Wonders, but they did not submit Wonders.
That's interesting.
I was out there, we were both together.
They were back to back. Yeah, they were separate presentations. They are still completely different in nature, both of those programs. but-
Open Court is what we had when my younger kids were in school.
Yeah.
I ripped many of the codable books.
This is being recorded, right?
Yes.
So they're going to watch us movie.
It's right there on the white thing, right?
This.
Oh, it's on top of that speaker, I believe, so that little dome.
I probably should have stayed.
Well, you wanted to take that now, you're in the center.
You only get one move, Darlene, don't you?
That's
I just go, yeah. They can't see you guys. Go ahead.
No, go for it.
Yeah. You do school board every day? You do school board things every day, everybody?
You'd be surprised how much they work goes into it, and I wish you had paid because it's,
Yeah.
but I guess the pay is making a difference. I just came from a different committee too, I mean,
Yeah, I noticed that was on the website or on the Facebook page or something.
Yes. Oh, actually, we have water.
Cold water's in the fridge, if anybody needs cold water in the fridge, help yourself. But I got warm sodas, if anybody wants a warm soda.
Very nice.
We'll put some, yeah, we'll put some sodas in the fridge, maybe it'll be cold.
Can you just, do you want the standards for, the amplifying?
Amplifying, no, I think the standard kind of answered in their packet, in the amplifying.
Can we ask questions or is that like a discussion?
It might be a discussion, yeah, but if you think it's a question, you,
Well,
I could answer it and we could go.
Ask them right now, we're all curious.
I love her. That's impressive.
Oh, this is where those documents we have to come in, right, for the. I ready my name.
How many did you say, more people?
Individual timer, one quick.
About 12 minutes, but if you need more, this is just a gauge. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Period.
You're being graded on time management.
I just by roll number.
There's a lot of words.
We got a lot.
Yeah.
Some of it is easy to find what you're looking for, and some of it is.
Whoever's watching this must be totally bored.
They're not watching it.
They put it on pause until they hear us talking.
Probably scared of
Do
you.
they do nothing in there except just look at papers and dates?
That's it. Why, yes, that's exactly.
All right. How are we doing? How much, do we have time? About how much?
I have this one and one more. Same.
10 minutes? 5?
Yeah.
I'm done.
Done? You need 10? Okay, let's do 10 more minutes. Good to go? Okay, so next up is our small group. So I have you broken into two groups of 4 with at least a community member and a parent and a teacher in the mix. So you 4 are in one group. So I'm gonna give you about 20 minutes and then we'll check in, share out, discuss, ask questions, what did you see, notice, wonder. I don't know if you wanna gather maybe up there and then Marco and you 4. Darlene, you can probably sit here.
You can look in the other room or feel free to move tables. If you guys got, if you want to just bring chairs, we
There's
can
no
go in this
chairs.
first room right here. Well, there's 2 chairs. So
Are there
we
2
have
chairs?
one there.
Okay. So we just need 2. So, group 1.
Okay.
That's what we'll we've just been 2. Yeah, take spots.
Alright.
You're
I'll
good.
take spots.
Okay, there. You don't need to. Oh, there's 2 in there. And you can leave yours.
Who's supposed to sit there with you?
Yeah.
I'm ready to I got my MRI today, so that's. I used the first one, so you have to do that.
What's happening?
Do two want to sit on this side, or I don't care, I can sit on that side.
And then there's, are you in that group?
Changing my world, what are you doing?
What?
Does this make sense? I have it. Whee! Okay, what did I just do? I thought we.
Oh, yeah, I keep going.
You did something.
I'm just trying to get us close. Okay. You have your eye.
I got tired of writing, so I started writing.
Let's get some pictures.
Right, we're gonna start.
Well, do we just want to start with you, right?
Yeah.
So Edith.
How long was it?
I spent way too long in this one, so the others were pretty.
I walked up.
Sorry, first.
Yeah. I showed my minutes first, yeah.
Well,
Right, something, because it's so.
Yeah.
We can, if we can see.
All right. We didn't get to see this one in person.
Oh, that helps.
So you guys are in the group that have all the knowledge, because we've seen these programs. So yeah, for K1, it's very strong. 4 or 5 hated it.
No, really?
So in our teacher
Oh,
group.
that's mean.
So bad. Trick or treat.
They didn't like it because it was very,
So-
independent. The kids needed to be very independent.
And they talked about it was weak.
And they,
So like this number 12, I think,
page 12?
the balance of text, on page 12, and they're all saying.
Yeah.
So like kindergarten is 10% informational, but.
Oh, yeah.
90% literacy. And then your informational 6, 7, 3, right, for the read aloud. But I know that we like to see 50/50. Right, that our text is more balanced than that. So like if you look at grade 1, then you get 14%, 18%. Like I said, for phonemic learners and phonics, it was super strong.
Well, and this really, I have always been really fascinated with this one, just because it has that history, social studies component and the science component. And how it starts in kinder, working with, or learning about world history and different things. So that part of it, I have always just been really fascinated with and would love to teach it. I didn't see, when I was looking at it, I wasn't seeing the issues that 4-5 had, as far as the need for the kids to be more independent. They did say that after a couple of years, they would be used to it, but it would take them a while to get into that routine of it, because
They're picking it up.
they would be just starting it at 4th or 5th grade. But then after they've been in it a while, it wouldn't be an issue. So,
I like that, but I'm homeschooling, and so we like having it start. We give you, and then we less, and let it go. And I like Asian countries do that. They
Yeah.
start having collectives where they just have a facilitator, really young. Like 8 years old.
well,
Our kids are a little more spoon fed.
that was the only part that I remembered was a negative,
Yeah.
was the 4th and the upper grades were not, did not like that level of independence for those first couple of years.
Oh,
because they-
transition.
Yeah, that, and it would be the transition of it. They would
Right.
get it once they'd been in it for a couple of years, but that first year would be hard.
Yeah, and I also remember them saying that the spelling was lacking on the 4-5 level.
That what?
Spelling was lacking on the 4-5 level. But I only remember this because I fought for this one in the.
Yeah, this one fascinates me, I have to
For
say.
K1, it's very strong, but for 4-5, they're like, just. So like, okay, it's a give and take, you know how it is, so it's like, okay. But on the lower level, it looks really good.
For the long term, we want better grades, we want to pull this up, and there's always kids that are gonna get somewhere shuffled, like.
Well, and my thought with this one is, then we're not waiting until high school for kids to get world history.
Right.
We're starting it way back in kindergarten, and they're doing stuff like ancient Egypt, ancient Romans,
That is,
all the things clear back in kindergarten.
yeah.
I liked it, said we believe in teaching kids how to think, not what to think. I was
Yes.
like, oh, wow, what a concept. I liked this a lot, so.
All right, do you have anything to say about that one? What do you think?
My feeling too,
You liked
yeah.
it?
I thought it sounds like it would be, yeah.
I so want to talk to schools who use it, to be like, how was that transition? What happened? You
And there
transitioned.
is a, because I was looking into it.
Yeah.
You can get on the,
Website?
it's Core Knowledge. And Amplify is just a company that
Yeah.
pushes it
Uses
out.
that, yeah.
but you can get on the Core Knowledge website and you can type in, there's some place in there that you can search for schools around you that have it. And I
Oh,
think
really?
Middleton, Middleton, it was 3 or 4 years ago. I haven't looked at it since then.
I have lots of friends whose kids go to school.
So I don't know if we want to skip over into reading because we've all seen it and maybe go on and then come back to it.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
I know exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Middledale College.
I didn't look at it because I didn't know,
Which they won't even consider.
Yeah.
and I only have 45 minutes.
I just
Yeah,
put on
me
the
too,
top
that's
that
what I
didn't
thought.
seem interested.
And it's not
I'm
that
sure
they're
it's-
not, I talked to them, it's that this is a whole new.
Daunting. It's a huge daunting task.
Well, I don't even think it's that, that has not been their core
Right.
focus, it's all been charter schools.
Well,
And they're doing
smaller.
really well in opening those, I know there's a new one coming in
And after a while, once they have that really solid, then they might.
few years.
Well,
Not the college,
there are
that's like
a few-
1885.
But it's a new curriculum.
Oh, very new.
Yes.
But no, you know what? It's truly like a homeschooler type thing where they have literally pulled from things that have been proven, like Singapore math. We know that Singapore is the highest in math scores. So they're literally like borrowing and putting it together, which is what homeschoolers, like that's what we do. We pull everything that we like and put it all together.
The thing that seems really daunting to me is that, the materials part of it, like all of the copies of it have to be made. Do they have anthologies, or would we have to buy individual books, or?
Did you see, they do go through, because I've been buying them, since I heard about it. I went, because I taught kindergarten this year, and I'll be doing first next year. I'm following a lot of their stuff. So I use Core Knowledge for, that's one that they use too, so it's super similar to, and, like in here, see books for teachers, and it's like, it has all the subjects. So I was looking, actually, I wanted to see what they have, literacy essentials, the journey, sorry. I don't know, there's no page number, so this is all off the website. So the teacher resources in each, like, grade and each subject is right there, and I looked and they have like, first semester, second semester for the teacher guide, they have obviously like, but it's very stick in the sand compared to what the other ones are. But that's why I don't think it would be 2.9 million either. It's like, yeah, you're gonna buy the resources once, but these are not expensive resources for literacy. This is all there is. And then you're doing,
This would just be one grade.
right?
This
So
would
this
be
is all
the,
kindergarten. You're looking at K.
Oh, there, found it.
These are just some samples.
but then my question is things like, if you want a class set of one story for the kids, that's a lot of storage.
Don't have that.
We don't have storage.
No. You don't have much.
So we have
You
like
have walls,
an
that's about it.
anthology. We have a volume 1 and a volume 2 anthology. If we had to have
Each individual. Okay, so
individual
that's super
books,
Charlotte Mason. If you know about homeschoolers, they love Charlotte Mason, and her whole thing is like whole real books. Nothing is just piecemealed and put together in a textbook type.
I would love that. I just don't have the space for that.
You should see my kindergarten class, you would die. It is half of this room and this side, and then I have another little side, but we do most of our stuff in one or the other. And I only have 7 students, but it's very good textbook, very good. So, I know, I have lots of bookshelves, but. So, yeah, it doesn't seem like they're ready for, public stuff, but it's a bummer because I think ultimately.
Well, when you
Possible
looked, did
model
you
is
find
really
stuff in
good.
3, 4, 5? I didn't.
It's not, they're doing samples of different, like, certain things, but they don't have everything. I think that's why that West Bonner has the actual books with the scope and sequence for literally everything. This is just a few.
I think that's
Well,
interesting
no, I was
that
saying,
that you
on
have
the
to
website.
apply to
Well,
get
on
the
the
scope and
website,
I can't
sequence.
find it there either, you have
That
to,
doesn't,
Yeah, it is very interesting.
they have you apply and then you,
But you can find some of the stuff they use for K1 too.
oh no, for sure.
But I couldn't find
mostly for K1.
4-5.
Yeah.
It's all in that
So
book,
that was,
because I was talking to Susie, we talked for like an hour. She's lovely.
all right. Moving on. Turning backwards, we talked about skipping my view too, since we're very simple
Yeah.
one. And going on I read and missed reading and writing.
The thing that concerns me about this one is it feels like I will be proctoring all day. I won't be teaching. The kids will have their individual online lessons and I'll just be walking around answering questions. Which is what I do with Lexia when they get a red apple. So I feel like it's very technology heavy and I wouldn't be teaching. Which is just, I don't know. And I remember that from the presentation too.
Yeah, so my neck reading, writing, I read it very technology driven, even K, very technology like they are. So my parents are either like, I don't want another device. This program, I was like, ooh, it's a lot of device, even for like my littles.
Because they do the diagnosis,
that's
and then they
not
put
good.
them on individual plans, which sounds great,
Right,
Yeah.
in theory.
because then it's all differentiated at level.
Well, then homeschool, because then you're not even getting.
But I don't want to be proctoring my students on their tablets all day.
Yeah, it seemed like more of a program that you would do, like they're online, and then you would pull a small group off
Yes.
while the rest of the kids are still online. And then you pull a small group off and then it's more like a pajama prep.
Are you bored?
Oh, wow.
Open door.
We remember.
I have a couple of those maybe in
That's
my.
bad. I think that's really,
Yeah, they're
like,
pretty great.
technology is ruining our kids. It's
Yeah.
actually why when Gates funded all the stuff in Washington stuff went. I've talked to teachers who are like, get this crap out of my classroom.
I don't mind it for
Now,
some
Gates won't let his
things,
own children.
Right, yeah,
but I
He
don't
will
want
let-
it for all the everything.
yeah.
Yeah, one thing, they do have a dyslexia screener, which is good, so is the state.
You guys either take it or get it, way over there. I have no self-control, I know, especially
The
not for.
state has one of those, so I'm like, oh, that's kind of nice, that's that.
But aren't we doing that anyway? Aren't we doing that training?
Well, they don't give us a screener, we gotta pick the screener, so they're kind of like piecemeal, that I know of.
What's good, I missed that one.
It's a dyslexia screener.
Oh, so how many
State is requiring
students
dyslexia.
do you see that have dyslexia?
Well, we did the screener this year, but I don't know that I saw the data.
Yeah, so.
So I don't know. I don't know.
What's interesting, why would they not give you the?
Yeah,
So that
They,
you don't know what to do with it,
Oh.
because it's so new, they're like, well, we've got the data, now what?
and now that's, yeah.
four of your students are dyslexic, but
Yeah, but we're not gonna tell you.
my daughter was dyslexic and it was
Well, you hear about it.
just white and black, it wasn't flipping, but she would look and she'd go, ooh, I gotta go, like, there's too much, it was just overwhelmed, like, crap. So you just put a little color overlays, and then they're like,
Yeah.
Who the heck, well, like, yeah,
there's so many types of dyslexia, it's not even funny.
yeah, so that,
I'm
well, that's
safe
a
now
good
because I
thing.
eat the only other one.
Now you're done.
Now I'm done.
And then the other thing is, so this one has a separate phonics program that you have to buy for 3 through 8, that's what that's intended
This
about.
one, or Irene?
The magnet.
Don't like it.
Okay. Skip it.
Yeah, that
Next.
was my thought when I read it. Whoa, that's a lot.
What was the thing I liked in open court? I liked the new units that they had. Because they felt more cohesive. Better than the code. You guys were talking about, you don't want them to be reliant on the green boxes on the town spelling cards.
We, for the K-1s loved it. So I think.
But I remember you guys
Was
saying-
it first grade then?
Somebody was saying that they didn't like kids to be, they wanted to understand why it works, not just trying to remember the green boxes on the town spelling cards.
So on open court, it's like your letter card, right? And your long vowels, like it will give you points. So like it'll be like A, like green box, right? Green box first, green box, and then like a line and an E. So like that will help you know.
Well, your CKs are,
Yeah, so like on, like, I'm trying to think of another one that had a lot on it.
These are the same ones that you had up in your classrooms years ago. Okay, I can kind of picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and like if you use those cards, you can kind of rely on them too much.
Mhm.
Just
It just,
words for
yeah.
you. Because I can
Becomes a
tell,
habit
oh,
of-
I know I need a
Yeah.
consonant for that card, I need a vowel for that card, that vowel and that one go together, so I know I put those cards together. It's like that kind of thing.
which is good for it, as long as it doesn't become a crutch, a permanent crutch.
Yeah.
And I don't remember,
But when you're learning, I never said that.
I don't remember either, I just remember that was the one thing that stood out about open court, was they
Like
didn't
you
want
brought
that
the puppet, I put strong as a puppet.
The kids definitely like the puppet.
Oh, yeah, yes.
They have the weekly home letters for parents. If we get to see this lady, buy a card from her. Really bad. She's a
That's
very
true.
good presenter. Very
And that's one reason that I'm glad that we're not doing the rating right after, because there were some that were amazing
You
presenters.
would be like, oh.
Yes.
Car outside, sign me up, you are good. Like,
And then
there
later
was
you
one
look back at it and you're like, what, hold on.
that was not good.
Wait, now that I've dug deeper, I'm not so sure. But boy, those presentations were amazing.
And one of those was. On the first one, first Saturday, and I was like, first.
Well, and the open court lady was amazing.
Amazing. It's the same lady that did it.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we have the Nampa School District has to open court.
Yeah.
Did you notice that with, it's the irony?
Yes.
We already have a partnership with you.
Uh-huh.
We'd love to continue our partnership with them back over here.
We,
We value our continued
Yeah.
partnership. We're already in this, so this is a
Yeah.
thing, right?
yeah. We want
About how much time?
38 minutes. No, I'm just
Got
kidding,
it.
I don't think so.
I think I need to take a bathroom break and then I think we went through it real
I'll check with you.
Yeah.
So
I
what
will
is
say, yeah, the iReady,
background
I think they need, because that's what we use for ELs, our ELL kiddos.
But they
Actually,
pointed
we
it out
can't
a
because we
lot.
never really got to. There's like an issue with the technology side of it because we don't roster all the kids. Because we only have licenses for EL kids. It wouldn't be an issue if that's who we went with, because we could roster all of them. But because we can't.
Yeah. It's a pain.
It looked good. I think it's fine. It was, and when I came into the district, open court was already a fossil and there were no, consumables by the time I got into it. So we were making our own copies of everything and it was just,
What year did you start?
I was in the lab, at computer lab in 2003 and it wasn't until fall 2007.
Oh, I think they need like 5
And they
more.
were, they had already gone past their 7 years, so they weren't getting anything new. And so I had one workbook that I would go and make copies out of, and I had, somehow they still had the decoders, and I don't know how that worked. Maybe. But we didn't have
I vaguely
workbook
remember
pages,
they
but
were
we did have the decoder.
kind of pulling them all over. Yeah. I just.
And you send home the stack with the parents and say, thank you very much.
Yes. I remember them well.
Staplers that they can rip and fold, that you wouldn't believe, they send them all back to me.
Really?
I just
Interesting.
happen to have a connection. I was like, this would be awesome. And then I just have to have people staple them.
Yeah, that is nice. Yeah, I used to put my older kids to work. It's like, okay, rip pages.
Here
somebody
is
staple.
the assembly line.
That's right. Like, he's have enough kids so we can get it all done.
So do you guys like open court or no?
I did like open part.
Yeah, it looks good to me. These two,
Do you feel like it's better than for your level than the Sabbath?
Yeah, definitely.
Because at your level, I like
Yes.
the Sabbath for the older kids.
Yes,
So.
yeah. Savas was just, it definitely had lots of holes in there. Yeah, the open court is great. They love the puppet. Like the kids love the
Yes, I
puppet. And the
remember.
puppet is like what introduces your letter sound, and now they have articulation cards that go with it. They have like startup videos.
So they have improved over time and
Yes.
just,
Well, and it's like their 60th anniversary, so they've been around for 60 years.
yeah.
And it works.
Mhm.
When I asked, I remember I asked you, I was like, why did we get rid of it?
Mhm.
Like, was there a reason? And she's like, there really wasn't like a reason. Like, it wasn't like, it really has a hole in this.
Right.
It was just like, we needed to adopt a new, and they're like,
And
oh,
it
let's
was
try
the
this new
next-
thing.
mhm.
Yeah. So I was like, well,
And what is it you use now?
trees.
Oh, yeah.
Looks really bad, June.
Yeah.
I just have that amplify and the open chord.
Those two.
I feel like we've seen the other two.
Yeah. So the only person who has it is Marco.
Oh, true.
I think he is, for both of these, concerned with all that stuff that goes in it, so I think he knows that they won't approve it if it goes to the install. The SEL with them.
Yeah, I think that needs to talk to some more teachers.
Yeah, they actually talked about it in here though, where it's like, well, at least they're being honest.
Yeah.
It stalled out in West Warner too, they had to return it. They bought H&H and the trustees said, pack it all up.
West Bonner bought Wonders.
Wonders, thank you. But it's an
McGraw-Hill.
H&H. Oh, it's on the
It's
wrong.
not HMH, it's
Okay.
McGraw-Hill.
So they had to box that and start all over.
Okay, how are we doing this table moving person?
Table moving queen, let's do.
Somebody might have different tables. They have a hole or something.
That's, okay.
Open the door.
Sure, oh, no, it's staying there. I'll take this. Take the candy.
But this is a pretty nice space. It used
Yeah,
to
it
be a bite,
Repair.
which we, we lent it to, which is a really great cause, but
Yeah.
so I hope they found another place.
Right.
It's hard to find places, like,
Yeah,
for nonprofit type stuff.
right. Right, just so weird. I know that's the way it
Oh, it's.
All right. Welcome back. Let's see, I have one on the bathroom break. Give just a second. If you need water, grab some water.
I go in and I'm like, oh.
much more organized.
That's what I thought. Yeah. One building, but here.
Closet here, and a desk.
I know, I walked in there, but.
Is that the only bathroom there is?
How did it get to me?
Scary.
Oh, no.
All right, we're up to our, open discussion.
No, your table.
So each group, I don't know, if you want to kind of share out, notices, wonderings, if you, yeah, just share out what you talked about. If you have questions for the whole group, wonderings for the whole group. After this, let me clarify what happens after this. After this, you're each gonna individually, rank all the programs.
Don't we have a spokesperson?
Yeah. You do? Who is it? Is it you?
You two are so good at talking.
Let's just start with amplify.
Okay.
Here we go.
Okay,
Uh-oh.
thoughts, questions, wonderings, what stood out?
So I have a question for you.
Okay.
So Amplify seemed okay, like maybe we should find out a little bit more about them. But something that I flagged that I mentioned to the group that I was in on page 29 for the remediation guide, it says it has the K3 encoding and then just decoding for 4-5. Are you good with that? Or are we back to the chicken or egg problem?
So for kindergarten, it was super strong, and I have seen the program before, and I have seen a presentation already. It was very strong in phonics and phonemic awareness.
Okay.
A lot of people love it. And in the screening group of my K1, all 5 of my group loved it. Highly ranked. But then, in that screening process, 4-5 did not love it. They said it was a little weak. I wonder, and again, I wasn't in the group, but okay. But on page 12, if you look at page 12, it gives their balance of text. And I know we really look for like a 50-50 split. So 50 fiction, 50 nonfiction. And if you look at that, in kindergarten, you get 1090, 1486, 1684. And then even like grade 5 is still one more, which is literary, more than the informational. So I don't know if that was more of a reason. I also remember that the 4-5 team said, again, I only remember this because I was fighting for this one. They said the vocab and the spelling was lacking in the 4-5.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that same tension that we were facing last time.
I think so. Yeah, I really like for the K through 2, they have a daily lesson on background knowledge, so it really helps build that, which I think would be great for all kids, but also the EL kids and also your special ed kids, where it's really, trying to build that background knowledge also. They do have like the family letters that go home. I thought that's a good thing to keep involved.
I love that you have experience. Because.
I never taught it, but I remember like looking at it, I was like,
My question about the literacy part of it versus the informational, is that like, is it literacy like just storybook, click, clack, move, or is it historical fiction? Which would still be teaching the historic components, but. So I don't know.
which
What
would be
they
a good
consider-
question to ask them if they came
Right.
back to us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, we could be like, could you tell us more about this?
Well, if we could look
What
through the
is
actual
that?
book, I think that's so helpful.
Because the words they're using could be different than like.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because, I mean, the kids read the I Survived books and they get all the history part of it, but it's set in a historical fiction story, so.
Right, and how much of the literary portion are like personal narratives versus, straight up fictional products.
I will say, to me, this one was my favorite, from the little that I knew.
It is very strong in teaching history, social studies, science, and getting that all into the kids' heads now instead of waiting until high school.
The cross curricular.
And it's from what I've seen, the grades lead into each other as far as their paths for the history part of it. And so it builds on each other over the course of the years. The 4th, 5th grade team did say that they were concerned that the kids have to be more independent in the 4th or 5th grade lessons, which as they get used to it, it would be fine. But that first year or two could be a struggle because they're not used to that sort of independence in what they're doing. So that the first year or two could be a hard transition.
Yeah, I noticed, which I was thinking about the exact same thing. Not that it's a deal breaker at all, but I just noticed it. On 27, it talked about that the skills units build. So mastery of the skills taught in earlier units is assumed and is a prerequisite for success in later units. So I was thinking of that similar thing, like there would probably be a couple of punky, possibly.
So we just introduce it in kinder for the
Next
first year,
year.
and then the second year, it
Follow
was
it
the
up.
first, and then it just, we can keep doing journeys for.
I'm fine with that, so I teach kinder.
That's how we got it sustainable. Because then when do you adopt?
Yes.
As a team again, so then we run an adoption by grade
Oh, we
level
just
every
say
year. We're gonna do an adoption every year. Yes.
Oh, fun.
I get it, I would like that. Phase it in.
Then all the kids get it.
And it sounds lovely, but with like the science of our
In
district.
reality,
so
it would not work. In a perfect world,
Yes, in a smaller setting too. Smaller district.
Any of
I'm
us want to
interested to
share
see
anything
it.
else about that? Yeah, interested, yeah.
I liked it on page 27, I put a little star next to the rubrics, portfolios, and journals. I liked that piece as well.
I noticed in kinder handwriting starts with strokes, which I was like, oh, yay.
Yeah, it
no
starts
kidding.
super basic, like even like, here's 6. There's like a pencil. This is a pencil.
This is.
They also have this.
Don't put it
Don't eat it.
Not in your mouth.
Don't eat it. Does happen.
Yes.
Right?
No.
Yeah, I went from teaching 5th to kindergarten, it's like, this was a bad direction. Yes.
5K,
No.
They also have cursive, I know. They have a cursive curriculum specifically.
They called that out in the the handwriting section, and they said they transitioned to cursive in 3rd, and it sounds like they just stick with cursive all the way after that, right?
All right, what's the next thing in your packet? Are we going Nordic?
So the next one is into reading. So in our group, we kind of skipped over into reading and Sabbath, and then kind of went over the other ones, and then went back to those two.
Okay.
You guys want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay with that?
Yep.
All right, so then after that went into the Hillsdale College.
We just said because they didn't qualify, or they didn't come, or.
They didn't submit.
Yeah, okay.
We briefly looked through the packet, but we were kind of thinking the same thing.
Right. Back another, oh, then that's the my view, so we skipped over that, like I said. And then the iReady.
They didn't like it.
Yeah, that was the one that we were saying was disjointed. There's a lot of moving parts.
And
There's
very
too much.
technologically heavy, that's not the word.
Too much technology.
Yes, thank you.
Just simplify
it a little bit.
There were
There you
so many, I don't even know what these were, like programs, like like what you,
Yeah.
like what you guys were saying, picturing these, like, all these textbooks except like in a technology form, like how many different programs does each thing need. I don't know. It didn't seem user friendly, but I don't know unless we look at it, but we didn't like it.
It feels like we would be proctoring their learning and not teaching.
Oh, wow, we're agreeing.
Yeah, agree on that.
That's nice.
We said no.
Yeah, we did too. We all said no.
So this is, we have to score when they're disagreeing on the ones we should take.
That's what we have to
Just
do.
present
one.
This is a great
There you go.
I don't want to do
information.
this again, and Martha
Sticking to the
really.
procedure.
So we're ready
We have
to
summer
sure that we're gonna
plans.
bring back.
We have summer plans, that's fine.
So then open court, bring back the puppet. I mean, it is.
Leo, hang out.
Is it Leo the Lion?
Yep, it's still Leo. We have it. We said
I know. What I said, I have it in my
They
puppets
love it.
right now, and they play with them
I
all
mean,
the
I'm a pretty
time.
good puppet.
I mean, I gave them back to you guys.
You look like you're gonna go get it.
So you can be distracted by Leo.
I like
He
open
said
court.
I like
Yeah,
open
we
But
door.
there's some questioning that I have.
Yeah.
So I would love to have him back and just
Look
drill
at
it.
Drill us.
I mean, ask a lot of questions. Well, and so
It
we
makes such a
had
big
open court,
difference when you can look.
like 20 years ago. It's an old program. They've done some updates.
Like how much updates?
They have,
Okay.
they've updated it, but the reason why they'll tell you why they are still around is because they had success. Like it was a successful, they taught kids how to read, so.
And it has good, was looking through their units, and I like, their units seem pretty focused. I mean, some of the units that we were looking into, I mean, the one into reading, and I like into reading, but it had, one of the units was heroes, and it was a very broad focus, but the units in here seem very pinpointed focus instead of over the general, yeah.
I like them.
So I just like the units to this.
I'm curious how
Yeah.
to modernize and change.
So HMH,
It's a good interview.
is it into reading? No,
Yeah,
like you.
yes, yeah, yeah.
Into reading,
Sorry,
we have to
into
go back to
reading.
the reading.
Which one?
Would like to hear them again.
So Margot hasn't had a chance. He's kind of, these are both new
So
to
that's how
him.
I feel too.
Yeah,
I feel like.
But from
that-
what I read, I did not like it, but, we thought because of what the information they given, there's a lot of good things that they said that it brings to the table. But we don't know what the board's gonna do with regards to the last one, because the way they worded it, they were really into that, gender diversity and equity. And I don't know what that means. I mean, I, in my head, I know what that means. I think, but I know what it means, but I don't know, you know? So we came to an understanding to bring him and ask him questions. And see where it goes. And by then, we should know what the board decides, and
Just to frame your guys' thinking here a little bit, when we say rank, like, you're not gonna say who I want to come and who I don't. You're gonna take, was it 5? Whatever it is, 6, and you're gonna give them a value, right? So who's your favorite? 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we'll look at the numbers to see, okay, do 4 really stick out, or 3 really stick out, or 2 really stick out? So we're not necessarily, it's not a yes or no, so to speak, when we do this next step of ranking, and then it'll go from there.
it's so complicated.
Just-
Just the way it
The more
has to
people
be.
that can understand.
Yeah. We were just kind of asking Marco, like thinking about that policy that was brought forward at the meeting on Monday, that if that policy were to pass, would that alleviate the concerns for HMH?
Well,
Like,
the
because,
policy.
This is the thing, not everyone knows, like what we're talking
We weren't in that
about.
meeting, or
I
like I said,
didn't
board
watch
meeting.
the whole meeting. I got 2 hours into it and went to bed.
Mhm.
So I didn't hear.
Well, and some
So
of
much
us,
all that.
I would say 3/4 of our staff have no idea that this is even a thing happening. When I mentioned like there is a board meeting on Monday, oh, they're like, what about?
I saw it on
Oh my goodness.
Facebook. Is it still on the?
You
it's
can
on
see
You
the-
can watch the whole
Yeah,
thing, I watched it the other day.
Oh, okay.
They were a lot.
4.5 hours worth.
I'll skip over them eating pizza.
Volunteer.
Bathroom break.
Yeah.
So it's basically about, teaching, sexual content, biology, a man being a woman or anything else, to kids. So it has a lot to do with that sexual content that, a lot of parents weren't happy with. And they let us know they weren't happy with it. And so it came because of a student who took a test and, and kind of failed some of those questions.
Oh.
And
You heard about it on the news.
Yeah.
Okay.
it just became a big problem, but the thing about it is, we're trying to figure out what kind of choices we have available to be able to not bring this thing again, and just resolve it all together. And one of those choices was that proposal that Greg brought, and it's in the internet, you can pull up his proposal. But seriously, we don't know what's gonna happen, we don't know I can't tell you what the end result's gonna be. Somebody may come with a new proposal, somebody may say, no, we don't want any of that here. Or somebody may say, we can take a little bit of that, if they let us know. But we'll see.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No,
Larry?
It applies.
Can I generalize it though, like that the policy would state, so if there was content that would be what was unapproved with the policy, right, like we would not teach it or use it as instructional materials, even if it was in the program, is that an accurate?
Yeah,
It's a policy addressing actions and behaviors and what you're doing, not a policy around what may or may not be in
Correct, so we
a
avoiding that.
resource, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Supporting it all.
And the question that I have
Yeah.
with HMH is how much of your content deals with this? Because if there's a lot of little pieces here and there, how is it gonna affect if we take out all those little pieces into the grading system of, I don't know.
That goes back to, sorry to interrupt, but that goes back to we choose four. And then the four that come, we have the rubric. And part of what we've broken out in the rubric is to clearly address that. So.
And that's why we said, okay, let's just bring them and ask those questions.
Yeah, I feel like, with interreading, just because when we did do this the second time through, it was 9 to 1. So 9 voices.
Are you talking about the fall or the spring? Because spring, I felt like it was a wishy-washy, like, okay, let's just get this passed if we need to, because we started out much closer.
I didn't feel that way.
Well,
I felt like it was,
discussed-
I thought it was a really good discussion.
Yeah.
And then some people left the room and then had discussions after the fact, but I felt like we had a really good discussion there. And so I thought when it was 9 to 1, I was like, wow, that was pretty cool that we came to such a big agreement. After discussion, there was discussion. So I just think it'd be important to bring them back, just so Marco can see what they have to say.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think
If
so.
that's the case, if you're saying you don't think it's important to bring it back? is that-
No, we
it
do
is.
think
I
it is.
important, because I'd like you to hear,
Yeah.
what they have
Yeah.
to say.
Yeah,
But
and I
out of
think
the
at
two
the end, the
programs,
rubric
that's the one.
will decide, so.
And I think the reason that it was so heavy that way was because it has such a good foundation.
Foundation.
Yeah.
Huge, good
That was the heart of the discussion, because it was evenly split originally, because one of the curriculum was really strong in the upper grades, and the other one was really strong in the lower grades, and the discussion was, which one would you rather supplement? The lower fundamentals or the upper writing and literature component? And the group consensus was it's gonna be easier to supplement the higher grades as long as they have a solid foundation, which is why we arrived at the 9-1.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so I just think that it'd be important to bring them back over my view.
No,
Yes.
So the vote was more.
and
Did anybody want to talk about my view?
My view was fine. Like they were better in person when we saw them, but this did not do a good job. I don't know.
But also I would, the question, the very last question, they did a lot of words.
Yeah.
Like, That's what I said. Question.
They did not answer the question.
Yeah.
I mean, the last line does says we're committed to presenting balanced, unbiased, and accurate content that is age appropriate. But it felt like it didn't really fully address it.
They're just being sales
It was
people, you know? That's what
It was a non-answer.
Yeah.
And theirs was much harder to find all of the SEL stuff in it. And it was
Oh,
harder.
we have to go
It
through
was-
the process.
Well, and in
Sometimes they say
the into reading, they had the SEL stuff, and it said, okay, here's the one question that we're going to ask about SEL. How did Judy Moody respond when her brother took away her whatever?
Right. How did he
Yeah.
feel when he failed at his
It was a
science
very
project?
specific, here's what your focus is, here's your one question for this one story.
Nothing objectionable in what I saw in that SEO section.
For status.
For into reading.
Yeah,
Call it what it, okay, my view versus, okay.
HMH.
Well, they were definitely the more, like, in here, they were
yes. I thought the presentation in here made it sound worse than I thought it
Way
was when I
worse.
actually looked at the curriculum. So, I don't know.
Theirs is the one though that said, it's throughout and embedded and all over and
Right.
that, and I'm like, oh my.
But it
Yeah, but I
really
think it
wasn't.
was
if
just that
you
one
look at it,
question
yeah.
for that story dealing
Yeah.
with whatever that one anchor
I
chart
think in some
was.
places they're playing to a market where parents want, we want all the SEL curriculum we can get in some, other places.
The Los Angeles.
So they, or
But
I
when
think
you
they're
look
playing to that
But
crowd,
when
but
you
when
go
you
in and
actually
you're
read the
specifically
questions.
looking for that, it's,
Yeah.
it's one
Very-
question per story.
Yeah.
How do they
How do you
respond
feel
to
when you
this
fail?
situation?
Yeah.
Type of
Which is-
question.
Kind of
Yeah.
important. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like they need to learn how to respond in those
Yeah,
situations.
all day, every
Like-
day anyway,
Right.
when they come to recess.
Yeah, I read it pretty specifically because I thought, oh,
Hey, find it.
yeah, but I don't see anything offensive.
All right.
Somebody else need water? Why not? Go one switch.
Waters.
Is it cold yet?
The first one's free, the second one's dog.
Are we?
Wow.
They are.
Are we ready to do our individual rankings?
Yes.
So,
Okay, so on your agenda, in the notes section, you can either go to that bit.ly or you can scan that QR code.
Wow, look at that.
She's very fancy.
Yeah.
she is fancy, but it makes it nice.
When it works.
Yeah.
We have to add that part because it wasn't.
Let me know if it's not working.
It's working.
Okay.
I don't have glasses, I can't take this test.
Yeah, just
I
pinch
swear.
it.
Your glasses are on
Oh, I see, okay.
Can we cheat and look at our notes?
Yes.
Please do.
It's open book.
Notes are important.
And the comments are optional, correct? Or do you need
That
an
is correct.
explanation?
No, comments are optional.
Do we have a time to take this test?
30 seconds, go.
It's gonna get awkward when you're the only one still doing it. Otherwise, no time.
Okay.
I do have the Jeopardy song.
No pressure.
No pressure.
Oh, they're so special, they need a week.
Is this the whole test?
No, it's just a rank, yeah, you're just ranking them.
Good, so you're gonna drag or arrow up, like your first choice. Second, or drag it down. So order from 1 through 7.
Do we get to see our results when it's done?
Yes.
Okay. Like, or is it a secret?
We should have put it in the
All right, we have 8. There we go. So, let's see, first choice, 6 of you put CKLA as your first choice. Second choice, 2 of you. Open court, first choice 1, second choice 6, third choice 1. Into reading, first choice 1, third choice 5, sixth choice 2. Sabbath, 4th and 5th. I ready magnetic reading, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th option, and then Hillsdale 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. All right, so on the back you have another.
Which I
Don't
actually
hit it.
already did.
Don't
on
hit it yet.
accident.
Oh, did you already do it?
Yes, because I scanned, usually I said scan the bit.ly, so I scanned it, and then I thought, well, that probably wasn't the one I was supposed to be
I
on.
wasn't sure if I
But I
had
did
it.
it first.
Depending on,
Yeah.
So that first part gave us the ranking. We now have our top 4. The second piece though is kind of help us around, do we need 4?
Yeah.
So is it 2 or is it 3 or is it 4? So
So scan the building now.
Could you
yeah, I was gonna actually,
talk quick first?
based on what just came from those results, I was possibly gonna have to tweak what this question
Oh.
said. So is this question gonna get us what we want? Do we want, they're voting either bring top 4 or bring top 3?
get mine.
Does that
Sorry,
bring
what
us
was
to it, or do we wanna add like? how
It
do we-
was.
Well, let's go back to the ranking results and maybe just through discussion, we can.
Was the status 4 on our list?
Yeah.
Are the people at home seeing this?
No.
Okay, we probably need to say it out loud, or did we? I probably did.
So
Can't read
individual,
it out loud.
I did read them out loud.
Thank you.
And then they know that currently we're individually ranking, so they are aware of that. Okay. And again, this is just based on criteria, not necessarily on rubric, so a very brief overview. So the question would be, the most we want to bring in is 4. So if we brought 4 in, that would be Savas, HMH, Open Court, and CKLA. So there's that question, or do we bring in CKLA, Open Court, and HMH? So should we bring 4? Is there enough of a difference to just bring 3? So that's what the next option or
Any
form is.
discussion on that? Anyone want to add anything?
So,
Yeah, we have 4
Me
people, so
neither.
let's just see what you think. We have 4 responses. Your QR code is on the back for this one. On the back of your agenda is the QR code or bit.ly for that. So it just says, do we bring the top 4, bring top 3, and then we can discuss.
yeah, I just.
We've got it.
You just
I just
went ahead of the
You
game.
guys are
I just assumed that
All right.
commercials.
Okay.
So that would be.
Nothing to discuss,
Open
huh?
Court and CKLA.
Oh, you were saying three?
Yeah, you are.
Everybody agreed on those 3.
Quiet.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, because
It's only
Sabas, why did you put
7:22.
Sabas in 4th place? That didn't make sense. to me.
Technology.
Well, we still better than I read.
I know, right?
That's
Yeah.
yeah, that's what.
You're right, you're right.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't a
And when it
I
went
like
through the
it.
first committee, it
Yeah, I like
came
it.
out as, actually,
Yeah.
it came out very high.
That's because I wasn't here.
Clearly.
I'm kidding.
Well, it's,
It has,
No,
it
for
speaks to
upper grade,
the,
I liked it a
the
lot.
actual
That's-
gap is
Yeah.
not that much. I mean, I don't wanna simplify as much saying we're splitting hairs, but
There's
the
not.
reality is that it's not like, wow, that program's really got it, and then, wow, that program's an absolute train wreck, what are they thinking? There's not, we're split, we are splitting hairs. So, that's what,
Yeah.
this is the fun part of this, is going through this process, is to be very picky.
so kind of remembering, just our tentative plan here, that on May 4th, then we would have presentations, May 9th presentations, and hopefully, discussion and scoring on May 11th. So we do need to decide how we're going to look at these, programs. So those of you that have been through it, I didn't know what it entails. So either you can have, you can be looking at 2 grade levels, like kinder and third. You'd either be looking at first and fourth, or second and fifth, or, and again, you can look at all of them. It's just like you're gonna really dive in and know what each of these programs look like in these grade levels. Or we could do 2 groups, and you'll be in a group to either look at kinder, second, and fourth, or the other group would look at first, third, and fifth. So you're still looking at a primary grade, and you're looking at an upper level also, because the rubric addresses all of those components.
So can I ask how that looks? Because the first time around, we had a week at home with the materials, going through it, filling out questions, all the things. Is that what you're thinking for this one as well?
So what will happen is you will have access to, digitally, they're gonna open up access digitally. So between now and the 11th, you're gonna have presentations, but you're also gonna have samples when they bring them. But you're also gonna have online access to dive in and do some preliminary looking over in between meetings.
If it's easy to access on them.
Yeah.
Like, which it wasn't always.
Yeah.
Which ones are the ones we're looking at are? No. Well, it's just a lot of stuff. So we also are gonna have open houses. You're more than welcome to come. And
So I just didn't know if it was going to be as detailed as it was.
I mean, they don't have the background knowledge to look at the level that our teachers can look at a program. Hence why we wanted to bring more to the table, because they have that background knowledge and can look at it through that lens. But we don't have the time, or some, like our community members and parents, don't have the background knowledge to dive in that deep.
So that's not what we're doing.
We are, whatever's on the rubric,
Yes.
that's what's gonna guide what we're gonna be looking at.
But in terms of the materials, they're going to bring the samples with them that we can physically like look through, because I can't remember if it was Savas or if it was the HMH that only had a partial curriculum online that was available for the preview. I think they had 1 grade or 2 grades that you could look at the actual stuff.
So if you would like, I can ask if they could send additional samples now. So I do have samples of all of the curriculum right now. The problem is that I need to have it available for open houses. So if I give it all to you to take home, that's gonna be a problem.
Once they know they're in a 3-room presentation, they're gonna work as fast as they can to get us how many samples, requests,
Okay.
for you guys to get stuff in your hand. And they'll probably get it here quickly. As soon as it is, we'll let you know.
Right, I mean, I can get you a teacher edition, but there's literally 1,000 moving parts.
Oh,
So you're
no,
not
no,
gonna
that's
have,
fine.
like, even if the writing notebook's gonna be different than the reading notebook, so you're not even gonna have a copy of like, it's gonna be
Yeah, no, I was just wondering if we're gonna have,
of a unit.
right, if we're gonna have 3 presentations, I would assume we're doing a combination of 1 on one night and 2 on another. If at all possible, could we have that other night where we only have 1 presentation to look through the materials? To have some extra time with, okay.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, how long is her presentation,
Oh, we get to tell them. I asked them to keep it at an hour. It's just a lot to consume in an hour, and then we have questions.
I think the questions is what's gonna take a long time, if they answer it correctly.
When we tell them an hour, they will try to build their presentation in about 45 minutes, and knowing that we have 15, 20 to 25 minutes of questions. So that'll usually keep us close to an hour. Sometimes a little more, just depends on how that goes. So.
Yeah, anyway, on the 2 night, if we have intro reading, do it on the 2 night.
The second
already-
one.
Since we've
No,
already,
on the one where we have 2.
Just
Yeah,
because we've
because
already.
everyone's already seen intro reading except for Marco.
So they add,
So then it won't be as overwhelming for us. Sorry, Marco.
I can request. So being,
I know, it's just what it is.
well, no, being publishers, and it's really late in the game, like they're already busy. People are already getting trained. People that just adopted are already had round 1 of training, like teachers that are implementing in the fall already. So they're out doing training of teachers right now, so to squeeze this in. Although if they want our business, they're gonna squeeze it in, right? But some of them have already asked. Open Court and HMH both wanted the 9th, if I could work it out.
The what?
Like they've already asked, they've already all put in, like, and I was like, I can't promise you anything.
And I told them, I mean, these guys are the experts, and I will weigh on that. My main concern is that last question. You know, because you guys know the rest.
Plumbing issues?
That's an interesting sound.
Especially since this is 1 floor.
It's concrete or something over there, moving chairs around.
Anyways, sorry. Go ahead, Marco.
So I don't wanna dig in too much where I'm just gonna go to sleep.
Well, they're watching you, so you're.
I'm not gonna dig in too much.
I'm a volunteer.
If we need them on a different day, I'll just.
No, I mean, like, the presentation's on the 9th, but if the singleton, if the one presentation's on the 4th, is there a way to get the materials for us to look through on the 4th when we only have the one
Oh, they'll
presentation?
have all this.
Did you say it was HMH
They've
and Open Court?
overnighted.
that-
On the 9th.
We're on the
Which would
9th,
mean that
which is better for me
Amplify would
because
be
I'm
on
gonna
the
be gone the 4th.
Yeah.
I'll just watch that on Friday.
Also, it works better for you too.
No, that's.
Yeah, if there's only one that night, that's.
We need to,
Yep, this is, okay, back to this question. Thanks, Trish.
What?
No, but the reason I asked that is because do I wanna be looking really in depth at 3 grade levels? Or do
I
I
would
wanna
say
be looking
two.
really in depth at 2 grade levels? So I didn't know the depth that we were supposed to be looking at, because that would make me,
Yeah, no, I'm
Choose
just, you
one or
know
the
who
other.
you are.
don't make me justify myself.
So also the option at the top or whatever other combination you all want to do is fine with me. I just gave you some thoughts of how to break it up. So everyone had a primary grade and a, upper elementary. Any other, are there other options that you wanna entertain here? No, okay, so if you wanna give me a, just pull up a 2 or a 3. Okay, so.
I'm following the crowd.
With that said, it looks like we'll have 3 groups, so you'll be looking at either K3, 1-4, or 2-5. If you have preferences on that, let me know and I'll try to grant all of them.
I'd rather do 2
So
sides.
I would like us to really quick look at the revised rubric. So you should take one and pass it on. I made the changes that we discussed last time. Just want to look and make sure that,
It's not getting actually 6.
make sure it looks okay. This will be shared with publishers.
Oh, no, it's yours. I was like, come on.
All right, anything that I missed, didn't capture from the notes from last time?
I think with the, due fluency assessment, any kind of words correctly dictated, what does that mean?
Rather than, all words, like if they missed a word, but if it was, like they change the meaning of the text, sometimes people count it right, some terms count it right.
Oh, because they understood it, they just said the wrong.
Yeah. That's more of a whole language, approach, right?
That's a hard one when they're reading to you and they add a word in that, I mean, I do that when I'm doing a read aloud. So it's hard to know when you're.
Yeah.
When you're just formal.
What is that?
Is it like the two,
Yeah.
that last section, and then we have the categories or the weights
Mhm.
broken out, as we discussed.
And we can take this on second study.
Yes, thank you for leading right into my homework. Your homework bullet number 1 is to please review the rubric and then familiarize yourself with the programs via the digital access that I'll email you as soon as I get it from those that are in our top 3. So then our next meeting will be May 4th, right here in this room. That's all I have.
And I can watch that on.
Yes.
What's our groups? Are we choosing that next time?
Oh, your groups? We can do that right now. I just typically I was thinking we have three educators, so there's 3 groups. So one of you would have to be in a group A, group B, group C. And then if you have a preference, then just let me know. If you want to, like, if K3, you want to look at more closely than 1-4 or 2-5?
I'll do
2-5?
Can I do first?
Oh, you wanted to do the 5? Oh, you go
I
ahead.
don't care. It's not that much. I'll do 1-4 or 2-5, whichever.
What?
My first 4.
Taken.
Sounds easy.
Marco, do you have a preference?
Yeah, I like the older one, so I want to do 2-5.
2-5.
Do you want to motion both?
I was gonna say, yeah, this is gonna be.
This is.
You see, you should have switched seats, Martha.
Yeah.
That was a good year.
I'll do,
I'll do 2-5.
Your seat.
Oh,
Well, that way if I go down and I loop, then I know what
Yeah.
seconds like.
And then,
I went first, right?
Kirsten and Jan and Stephanie, I don't have anything written for you yet.
Group A would be great. K3.
I'll do whichever.
Yeah, so I think Jan wanted the
I,
2-5.
yeah, but I can do
And
one,
so
or
I
it
can-
doesn't matter.
But do you get to choose?
You can do a 2-5 too, right? Well, how is it balanced right now?
It's one
Who do you
community
need?
under one.
Everyone has one, so
Yeah.
you can probably choose.
Yeah, one of you gets sent it too. Right?
Or,
Two of you get two.
Two of you, yes, that.
Okay, well then if you have room in the 2-5, that would be my preference, but if not, then I don't really care.
Okay, I'll figure it out. Marco, what did you say again?
2-5, and I'm willing to take another one.
Okay, that's what, I had that written down, sorry, I already got that. Okay. When I email digital access, I'll email out what I believe you all requested, and then if you, right, there
Gotta
will
be
be,
balanced.
right, because there's 3 groups and there's 8 of us. Even though I'm not a math person, I get that.
We're not doing that curriculum.
Partners.
Right, yeah, there's that.
And we went to that odd number and now we just messed
Now
it
it's just
all. Odd numbers.
Ah,
all right, well, thank you all so
Thanks for your
much.
time, folks. Appreciate it. See you on the 4th.
Do you want us to leave the what, so the ones that we're gonna be reviewing, do you want us to take them and leave the ones that we're not, or do you want us to take everything or leave everything, or?
I don't think it matters.
Take it all.
Yeah,
take it all and throw it away.
Fire starter.
if you don't want to leave it, we'll recycle it.
This is good information, I'm gonna read some more.
Yeah.
we need to get rid of all the, everything, does everything you can put up.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Oh.
You guys are awesome.
Take a little.